Greetings, everyone. It is Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. So we've completed the entire span of The Last Guardian. We wrapped up with a kind of question mark, a forward-looking something into Medivh's, a future for Medivh. We'll learn about that, I guess, when we get to said future. This one's called The Second Warchief. So stay a while and listen to this one, and we'll talk a little at the end. Far from Karazhan, Gul'dan's sudden coma sent shockwaves to the Shadow Council. They did not understand what had happened or why. Warchief Blackhand was also confused, but not terribly unhappy. He had not been pleased with the Shadow Council's recent efforts, and he knew that Gul'dan had been trying to assert more and more control over the Horde. Orgrim Doomhammer believed that his time had come. The Shadow Council was in disarray, and Blackhand was still reeling from the recent failed attack on Stormwind City. Orgrim would have no better chance to erase the corruption that had damned the Orc people. He challenged Blackhand to a Mak Gorah, a duel to the death, calling the Warchief a traitor who had sold his people into servitude to dark forces. It was not a challenge Blackhand could refuse. No Orc could, not without losing the Horde's respect. He could not even have Orgrim assassinated in secret. Blackhand had relied on the Shadow Council for such tasks. Painted with clan symbols and adorned in oil, the two orcs dueled for hours. Orgrim ended the contest when he crushed Blackhand's skull with his family's weapon, the Doomhammer. So it did bring about the fall of an orcish leader and new hope for his people. The watching orcs kneeled before the victor, proclaiming their new leader, Warchief Doomhammer. Orgrim spoke to the Horde, telling them that Gul'dan and his warlocks were not what they seemed. Their fell powers were what had killed Draenor. Orgrim declared that he would cleanse the Horde of the foul darkness that had poisoned it. His first step was to outlaw the practice of using fell magic on pain of death. Azeroth would not suffer Draenor's fate. Yet the full measure of Orgrim's vengeance would have to wait. After Blackhand's death, the Shadow Council had fled. Orgrim did not know where they had run to. For now, Orgrim focused his attention on the war with Stormwind. He did not relish the prospect of more battle, but he had no choice. To return to Draenor meant a slow death. The only way the orcs would survive was by conquering Stormwind and making it their new home. If they did not defeat their enemies, they would be at the mercy of a strange world. Warchief Doomhammer ordered the clans to prepare for one final assault. They were moving before the sun had set. Okay, so jump over to Orcs and Humans. In the next campaign level that we'll do in the next episode, you're going to have some Orc v Orc. Essentially, you, the anonymous protagonist of the Orc campaign, are going to attack Blackhand, take him over. Assuming with victory, you will win, and for the last 5 levels of the game, you are the Warchief of the Horde. So I like to pretend that you are taking the role of Orgrim in that case, and it meshes up. In canon, Blackhand was defeated in the course of this war, and I don't think it's a big deal to say that you were Orgrim. We have a little bit of issue here with if he's not allowing fell magics anymore and the Shadow Council flees. Well, that obviously does not happen in Orcs and Humans because, as you will see, we are going to have to rely heavily on warlocks and necrolytes, I guess, are a little bit separate, but we're going to be relying on warlocks and demons to get it done. So there's that, and I don't know how much that meshes with what happens in Warcraft 2, which we'll start finding out about here in relatively soon. All right, another episode in the pipes, 5x5. Thanks a lot for listening and tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft.